Today, we're going to take one of the most strategically brilliant stories from the ancient world, the story of Esther, and transform it into a powerful playbook for modern financial traders. It's an incredible story about timing, risk, and massive reversals. And believe me, the lessons are as relevant now as they were then.
This quote, "This is our entire game plan." It reframes this old story into a masterclass on strategy. So together, we're going to unpack each of these big ideas: positioning, patience, courage, and of course, the art of the reversal.
All right, so first, let's set the scene. I want you to imagine the Persian royal court. It's high stakes, incredibly volatile, full of big personalities, and hidden dangers. Sound familiar? It's a perfect stand-in for today's financial markets.
And here's our very first lesson. Esther didn't choose to be an orphan. She didn't choose to be taken into the palace. And in the same way, you, as a trader, you don't get to choose the market you start in. You don't choose the economy or how much capital you have. The only thing you truly have control over is your next move. Now, what's so fascinating is how Esther plays the hand she's dealt. She shows incredible restraint. She listens to Haggai, who's the expert in her new environment. She doesn't demand anything extra. For a trader, the lesson here is just crystal clear. Find your mentors, act with discipline, and build your reputation on solid character, not on making flashy, crazy demands on the market. Next up, we get to see how this all plays out through two opposing forces. And these really represent two very different trading mindsets. You've got the observant professional, and then you've got the destructive ego. This is such a powerful metaphor. Mordecai at the gate. He was there every single day. He wasn't there for the glory or the attention. He was there because it was his post. This is the trader who shows up to the charts every session, does the analysis, and just stays observant. Because that consistent daily presence, that's how you spot the patterns that everybody else misses. So get this. Mordecai uncovers this huge plot. He literally saves the king's life. And what happens? Nothing. No immediate reward, no big ceremony. His good deed just gets written down in a book. Well, your trading journal, that's your book of chronicles. Every observation, every little lesson you learn might not seem valuable today, but that record is being saved for the one moment when it's going to matter most. And this slide just perfectly lays out the two paths you can take. On one side, you have Mordecai, consistent, observant, just dealing with the facts as they are. And on the other side, you have Haman, totally driven by his ego, demanding respect, and completely consumed by one tiny little thing, the fact that Mordecai won't bow to him. Just think about that. Haman had everything: power, wealth, the king's favor, but he says it's all completely worthless to him because of this one guy. How many traders let one bad trade or one critic completely poison a whole week of wins? That's the Haman mindset. You let one little thing completely destroy your entire success story. Haman gets so obsessed that he builds this massive gallows just for Mordecai. And the lesson for traders here is so stark. When you start building some elaborate revenge trading plan against the market because of one loss, you're not getting even. You are literally building the very machine that's going to cause your own downfall. Okay, so this brings us right to the core strategy of the story. See, it's not just about being present. It's about knowing when to act and how to act. It's about timing, making the tough decision, and maybe those unseen forces that are always moving behind the scenes. This is the call to action. It's that exact moment when a trader realizes that all of their preparation, every chart they've studied, every loss they've taken, every lesson they've learned, it's all been leading to this one specific opportunity that's sitting right in front of them. The only question left is, are you going to take it? You know this feeling. Every trader does. Analysis paralysis. You've done all the homework, the setup is right there, but you're just stuck in this loop of, should I, shouldn't I? You're just looking for one more piece of confirmation that's probably never going to come. So how do you break out of that loop? Well, this is Esther's answer. 5 words that change absolutely everything. This isn't being reckless. It's the total acceptance of risk after you've done all the work. She looks at the worst-case scenario, acknowledges it, and then commits to action anyway. And that's it. That's the bridge you have to cross. It's that moment of pure courage that takes all of your analysis, all of your preparation, and finally turns it into decisive action. It turns it into execution. Now, this part is just brilliant. Esther gets her audience with the king. He holds out the scepter, offers her anything she wants, and what does she do? She waits. She invites him to a second banquet the next day. She has full access, but she can just feel that the timing isn't perfect yet. That one single day that Esther waited, it changed everything. This is one of the deepest lessons for any trader. Just because a setup is there, just because you can enter a trade, doesn't mean you should. Patience, right at that moment of access, is an elite-level skill. And look what happened in that 24-hour waiting period. The king can't sleep. He randomly asks for the official records to be read to him, and he just happens to hear about Mordecai's unrewarded good deed. And just as Haman shows up to ask for permission to execute Mordecai, the king instead orders Haman to go publicly honor him. The entire game board was flipped, all while Esther was just being patient. And now we get to the climax, the great reversal. But it's not just about the victory. It's about making sure you never, ever forget how it happened. The reversal is just absolute and, frankly, poetic. The very mechanism that Haman built to destroy his enemy becomes the instrument of his own downfall. And you know what? The market has a way of doing that exact same thing to people who trade with ego and revenge. This is the principle we have to grab onto. That long, painful drawdown that feels like it's going to end your career, that might be the very thing that forges the discipline you need to win. That failed trading system? That might be what leads you to discovering your true edge. The thing that was supposed to destroy you becomes the source of your greatest strength. But this story doesn't just end with the win. They create a whole festival, Purim, to remember it forever. For traders, this means your reversal stories, the time you rebuilt your account, the hard lessons you learned from your biggest losses. Those aren't just for you. They are a gift to your community. So how do we actually do this? Well, you record your stories of reversal. You share them with other traders who are stuck in the same tough season that you managed to survive. And you create a personal tradition, maybe an annual review, of these moments to cement the lesson that would look like destruction was actually the setup for your greatest victory. And that's really the question I want to leave you with. I want you to look at your own trading journey. What difficult season, what drawdown, what painful loss felt like it was specifically designed to take you out of the game, but is now, when you look back, actually forging the very strength you need for your biggest win yet?